Our parents' spot landed near retirement. Millennials and Gen Zs are shifting that by 20 years earlier. But if you're under 40, right, and eyeing a terrace house, are you reckless or early?
Welcome to another episode of Property Roundtable, YouTube podcast with myself and Rama, bringing value to your journey of buying and selling landed property in Singapore, as well as other forms of property in Singapore.
Bro, so today's topic,
Yes.
the younger buyer wave.
Yes.
What is younger buyer wave, bro?
Okay, in the growth stage of our channel, right, we had engaged many of our viewers, and I've shared more than once in the channel that we know very well the analytics of a profile of our viewers, and the large part of our viewer age group actually lies within the 35 to 44 age group.
Yep.
But that doesn't mean that the trend of younger buyers are only limited to that.
Yep.
We see more and more couples in their late 20s or even late 30s moving from typically, the property so-called upgrade, right, from HDB to condo to landed. We see them skipping the landed, skipping the condo and the HDB straight into landed.
When we share this kind of information with people around us, right?
Yeah.
When they ask, are you sure? No, younger buyers can.
It's true.
And then they ask things like, oh, maybe the rich kids, the parents helping them. But yeah, you're right. They also form a particular a bunch, okay?
Correct.
But not just, that's not just it, there's more to it. Right?
Yeah, so a lot of our clients that we serve are actually fall into that younger category, late 20s or even early 30s.
Yep.
They're actually not just rich kids. They are typically dinkies, dual income, with no kids even, with maybe a dog, dual income professionals, entrepreneurs, influencers, tech and finance, or even e-commerce brand owners as well.
Yeah, because the other time I was saying they are crypto millionaires, but they say, apart from crypto millionaires, who are the rest of them? Who are these people, right?
Yes.
Yeah, bro. Moving on to the sociological drivers. Okay. Why are they buying earlier?
Well, I guess one of the reasons is also about this thing called the identity and the status shift. It is more of the space first living. So now they actually prioritize space. Like having a home office, having a space for their dogs or cats to run around, multi-gen living. They prioritize that over being downtown, because in old days where we always look at, when I upgrade, I want to get a condo in prime district 9, 10, 11. I think in today's market, the characteristics of the buyers have changed a little bit. So one of the social drivers is actually the status and identity shift towards the landed segment.
I think it is also pretty true, after COVID, right?
Yeah.
This has really caught up a lot in numbers,
No, people say it so many times, but the truth is, on the ground, it's still applicable. Yeah.
So, bro, I came up with this. I saw this particular line: buy bones early and customize later. What do you think of this statement, bro?
This maybe for the less initiated, in at the table we always talk about, we casually talk about certain terms. We say, the bones of this house is good. So this term came about from foreign influence, where we're talking about the structure of the house being solid. So when we talk about getting a position, PRT is known to tell people get into a position, right?
Absolutely.
So when you say buy bones early, means you buy a house that could be old but structurally sound, and then you customize later. You sit on it as a land bank, or you use the house, and then later you go into a A&A or a recon.
So that should actually answer the question: how come these young buyers can do this at such a young age? They got so much money, man.
Correct.
So it's not an immediate thing, but what Harvey said, and we've been saying this for the longest time: get your position.
Yes. So they take it as a 10-year maybe timeline, and they will do the works when their income peaks. That means when their income picks up and they have more disposable cash, or even big bonuses, right? That's when they will make their move to not sell, but actually to do big works for the house.
That's right. That brings us to the next part of the show, bro. The financing playbooks. How actually are they doing it? Where's the money coming from?
I think in the most plain vanilla way, when we talk about financing a house, right, we typically talk about, excluding those is a first-time buyer, right? If we talk about people who are selling to buy. So sometimes when the inquiries come in, I will ask the buyer, are you selling to buy? And some people get very sensitive. It's like, why you need to ask this question? I think one of the reasons why I ask this question when it comes to particularly to even a landed segment, right? It's we need to kind of help you understand if you're selling to buy, how much you have to return to CPF, what is your pure liquid proceeds? Then when you buy something older, do you still have that cash to do up the house? So some call it the staircasing equity, whereby you have gains from HDB and condo, and then use that gains plus your CPF to then enter the landed segment.
So this brings us to this important point here. The government has a lot of policies, bro.
Yes.
And in Singapore...
Good or challenging ones?
No, they're good and challenging. They're good and challenging for some.
Yes.
Okay? Basically, our population, we need more babies.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so they also want you to get married fast,
yes,
and have babies and everything.
Yes.
But then you must also understand, there are a lot of parents out there, they have gone through this stage. So they tell their kids, hey, I want you guys to get married early.
Yeah.
All right? Start a family early. So the moment you start a family early, you can buy your first BTO flat already.
Yeah.
So their head start.
Yes.
You know what I mean? As compared to a lot of people who move into the market much later.
Yes.
Because you wait until 35 to buy your first property as a HDB, or you are not married, so you're still waiting for yourself to get married before you buy. But then there are people who take this staircase, like what you said, right? The first BTO flat. Next thing is the EC. And by the time they come into landed, they're still 30, bro.
Yeah, correct.
Right?
Correct. So when people make moves early, and today property ownership in Singapore is not seen as a negative thing. I think, given that I've invested myself in foreign markets before, I think we are a very different market. When Singaporean buyers go into, say, UK, right, we are known as the landlords, right, where we buy to let. Because locally, they accept that renting is a norm, right? They don't have to buy something. But Asian or Singaporean property investors or owners like to own things. And then we see it as an investment, that's why we lease it out. I think the younger generation in Singapore understand that property ownership, it's a road that they need to take, and they will take, and doing it earlier is better. And I think, Rama, let's not forget, right, that today, right, typically you want to buy a landed property, the entry level is about how much?
3+?
Okay lah. If it's a leasehold, could be 3+. If it's a freehold, at least 4-ish, right?
Yeah,
so how do these young buyers come in and structure or do this deal? Because typically it's a dual income situation.
Right.
We mentioned earlier, right?
I was about to ask you, right? Do they when you say dual income, I get confused. And maybe our viewers also get confused. Dual income is, very good lah. They got 2 income. They add together, they can afford. But no, there's another way, right? There are other things that they're doing. So maybe you want to share with us that.
No lah. I think dual income comes in. Of course, they have income coming from both sides. But I think one way that they can do this, right, regardless whether they buy a landed or if they buy something else, even if today we talk about them buying together as a landed, then that will be easy, right? If their combined income is quite high, then it would be, maybe one person would be focusing more on the mortgage side. One person will be focusing more to the lump sum, to do the big works, for example. But of course, there are also people who, instead of buying a landed, they look at the landed scene and say, and tell us at the round table, right, say that, hey guys, actually after evaluation, right, what is your suggestion to us if instead of doing that, right, we go into the sell one, then we buy 2 potential positions, and then we go into the landed scene later.
So it's all about investing your time properly lah, or successfully lah, or productively, right?
Correct.
So if you do that, for example, they can renovate in stages, bro. They don't need to renovate immediately, right? So they can wait. Okay, maybe I sell one, I buy 2, but I don't need to renovate or do a A&A on the one that I bought immediately. Or just do a minor renovation, move in first. When my income goes up as we move up in age and in our careers, we can start to consider doing that as well.
Actually, if I may share with you candidly, one of my neighbors on my street, he bought a landed, I would say maybe 6 months to a year apart from me. And he only did reno works. When he came to tell me, he said, Harvey, I look at your place and I feel like, well, I want to rebuild, but I know this is not the right time. Because he owns a condo, a 4-bedder elsewhere. And he says that his goal is to ultimately exit that for a decent profit. And then when he combines, he will do a big work. Maybe he will rebuild this land that he already bought as a land bank, of which we have mentioned before on the channel multiple times, like land banking. And then later he will do the rebuild. So at the another way we can say that, of course, the financing playbook will be really to do have an alternative cash flow. Like for example, they will, instead of spending money on cars, I think a lot of our younger buyers now are car-like.
Yep.
They don't actually drive. They have no debt in that sense. And they even say, hey, after I buy the landed house, right, I will do a little bit like a co-living thing where I play landlord and I can lease out some of the rooms in my house to create cash flow.
So that's coming from us, I guess, lah.
Yeah.
Because when we go for viewing with these people, like we say, location matters. Second most important thing, the layout matters.
Yeah.
So this layout, right, it helps because what if you can do a studio?
Correct. So the truth is, the younger generation buyers, the younger wave buyers, right, they are more open to sharing a place.
Yes.
Currently, we have a client who owns a dual key. For some years, they actually stay in that unit, the master bedroom, and actually they lease out the rest of the rooms. And the community they built there, their tenants are very nice, very welcoming. I think that also helped them to create a certain level of cash flow, which is super smart. Right. And I think that is something that allows the younger generation, the new wave buyers, to come in, participate, and buy bones first and then customize later.
So let me move on to the next segment, bro. So what is the retirement logic here? How does it pay off at a later stage?
Okay, how do properties pay off themselves technically, right? It's, especially in the landed segment, right? It's called the equity compounding. If you have a land scarce, we talk about scarcity factor, right? And then plus a long hold, right? So what you intend to do is to put your equity in and let it grow so that later you can, as you grow towards retirement, right? Then you so-called break the piggy bank lah. You sell and then you cash out. So it's an equity compounding whereby you put in lower amount of money. Okay, let's put this as an example. If I bought a landed property at 2 million, last time the loan able to take 80%. So this person put in 400,000 cash. 400,000 cash plus CPF, whatever lah. Assume all of it is in cash. Now, if you were to sell the same house, it would be, say, 4 million. So when he sells out, his loan is already much lesser than 1.6 million, right? Compounded with the 400,000 he put in earlier and the growth of the property, right? When he retires, he can take back over 2 million worth of cash plus his CPF combined, of which you reach a certain age, you can withdraw your CPF.
So it all boils down to locking in that position.
For sure.
All right?
For sure.
Always
you have
the case.
When you take a position in the landed market, it's very different from taking a position in a condo market. Because in the condo market today, right, you have to be really sharp at what you choose. Every new project that comes in, right, will have its draw. Every new product that comes in, right, will draw and be future-proof to the needs of future buyers. So now, if Singapore being 60 years, or SG 60, right, we have almost a 3-generational type of condo in the market. Where we started with something very simple, big floor plates, very regular. Then we went into something more sexy. We will have our tennis courts, we will have our squash courts. And then we went into the super light, we dropped tennis courts. We say, hey, tennis is not sexy really. So we put other things. Now, tennis courts come back in fashion again. So many different generations of buying, right? So therefore, if you buy a property for retirement in the condo segment, right, it's also very important you buy something that is very future-proof.
And importantly, we would like to reiterate again, okay, apart from that, it is also, apart from getting yourself into that position, it is okay, all right? It is okay for you guys to get into a house that you can do an A&A much later.
True.
Which we spoke about earlier.
True.
Okay, the younger buyers, they're more open to this. Of course, you compare this with some younger buyers who feel that, I need to, not say show off lah. They like to be inviting guests over, so they need their house to be very nice and everything. So maybe for people who are in that line, right, the borderline where they want to get into that position, these guys are actually okay not to do a massive A&A first. They just do simple renovation, they move in, they're okay to live there. But they ride the wave.
Yes, correct. So that forms the runway to the retirement, which I think there's one more point at the table that we can share. I think most people buy landed because they feel that's safe. Which therefore we came up with this thing called the de-risk runway. You have to plan a mortgage end game. You know, you do multiple rounds of property investment and then you say, hey, Harvey, what is my end game? Rama, what is my end game? So if you're very clear, you set yourself a 10 to 15 year runway. If you're in the landed property that you already bought, it is okay to prepay or refi or reprice along the way so that you bring your debt down by significant amount.
That's right.
You reduce your interest payouts, and then later when you cash out, you can then swing this proceeds that you have back into safer instruments. Like, for example, I know this is not sexy, but it's safe, like treasury bills, or even like fixed deposits or things like that for your retirement passive income. I mean, we're not here as an investment channel, like financial tools. But being in a financial world myself before and doing the same thing as how I do something is how I advise my client. Is that this is something that Rama and I have discussed many times, which is the de-risking. And de-risking in itself is about reducing risk, right? And a lot of people see landed as being stable and low risk. And then in the end, you de-risk and then you take the money and then you are able to put it into structures for passive income.
True, bro. Now that you have said so much about all these things, right? I have a question for you.
Yes, bro.
Okay? This is an argument.
Yeah.
I just want to argue with you today, okay?
Cons.
Yeah. So, what do you think about concentration risk? You put everything on landed. That means you believe so much on landed. You just buy first, later I do A&A, later on, don't know how many years later I can make money. But then you are like not doing other things, like everything go into one basket.
Okay, two ways to, I think two ways to look at it. I think Rama and I have discussed this before. If you put everything into one basket, it is an investment philosophy. We should always diversify. But I've mentioned this before a couple of times, and I think a lot of viewers, you can comment below whether you agree or disagree. There is no pride now in Singapore if you tell people you own 10 properties if you haven't already acquired them. Why? Because every additional property that you acquire, there's additional buyer stamp duty, there's decoupling costs and stuff like that. So when you go for something that is concentrated, meaning that you spend 4, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million on a property, right? You are basically telling yourself that this is the amount of square feet and this is the position in the Singapore property market that I have highest conviction for.
Right.
So to me, that is a concentration risk only if it's something that you don't want. If you own a lot of Bitcoin versus all the other altcoins or like Ethereum or like Solana, that's fine. Because that concentration in Bitcoin is seen as good crypto, right? So versus I can buy a lot of meme coins or I can buy a lot of one-bedder and tell people that I own 10 one-bedder apartments in Singapore. But does it really help you in moving your goalposts towards your retirement, or are you just acquiring square foot of property to feel good, but do they really work that hard for you? Do they really? I don't know. Maybe you can comment.
Okay, bro. Apart from that, then I add some more. Okay? We still have interest rate.
Yes.
It's a topic by itself.
Yes.
Like recently, the interest rate went up. Then they get into trouble.
Yeah.
All right? Then another thing is, they say, okay, we do this, we do that, we can do reno, A&A.
Yeah.
Then their cost overrun.
Yes.
Then lagi stress. Not that we have not experienced this before. Some of our colleagues.
Yes.
And maybe you, I'm not sure. Okay? Could have gone through this problem.
Correct.
While you are doing your A&A, you see unforeseen.
Sure we'll have. I mean, these are like stress points, you feel that your cash flow at some point in time, you feel like, it's like draining. You feel fragile. You feel like you cannot deploy this cash to do other things. I mean, this is a mindset, right? So, landed is a high conviction product whereby if you buy it, you have to be clear like how you segment all your money and how you do it.
Right.
Which is why at the table, this is what we do. We tell our clients that we're not telling you a fixed outcome. We are tailor-making things for you.
Okay.
So, of course, another thing that we can always look at if we are talking about just landed is that obviously when you buy a landed, again, we talk about cash being a cash burn, right? Because you put it all in one position.
Exactly.
So maybe you have less float to invest in other things. That could also be a potential issue.
That's right. So now, when we say younger buyers, bro, we never really segmentalize them. That means how old are these younger buyers? So we have for you, right, 3 groups today.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, bro, the 30 to 31 years, we call them the builder couple. Who are these people, bro? What is builder couple?
I think the builder couple is what the table we define them as they will start early, they will build their portfolio, they are okay to buy older leasehold terrace, which is, I say leasehold, a lot of people, cannot la, die must buy freehold, correct. But this specific archetype, right, they are the type that will look at building blocks. Instead of buying a leasehold condo, I buy a leasehold terrace and then they do phase reno. Right. They do a little bit, they do the internal, which I feel good lah, they house proud, right?
Yeah.
Then later they may change some of the like window frames and the gates and stuff. And then slowly they build up. But they are squirrels lah. They like to keep a buffer of cash so that they can still have a lifestyle. Because if you go into a leasehold, the older ones maybe around 3 mil. Instead of buying a 4.5 million terrace in freehold, right? They still have a lot of buffer to do other things in life.
That's right.
So this is what we call the builder couple. Builder couple as in they build the portfolio slowly lah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the second group, which we call them the hybrid worker,
Yes.
bro. Around 34, 35 years old.
Yes.
What are these hybrid workers?
I think these are the people who tend to be, maybe it's that they have done 2 rounds already. The initial HDB, then they went to the condo, then they say, hey, now I want to swap my freehold position in prime to go for terrace. Typically, they gun for freehold. They want freehold only. And they will probably use that home as a home office, or maybe they are business owners. They see value in that. They run their business from home, or they use a home office. And then maybe they can lease out some of these rooms and use it as
I
a
particularly
offset.
like this group of people, bro, because honestly, different segments of the property market, right, they move different speeds.
Yeah.
So it is important for these buyers to exit one at the right time to hop onto the right one.
Correct.
Eventually,
Yeah,
right?
it's a swap lah.
Yep.
It's a swap play lah.
And then the next one, of course, the most younger ones.
Yeah.
That means these are below 30s lah.
Yeah.
And we call them the intergenerations. Okay.
This one is the group that the sour grapes people don't like the most. So basically, parents are okay, well to do lah. So they tell their son or their daughter, they say, hey, let's not wait so late. Landed the way to go. We skip HDB, skip condo, don't waste time. Just straight away, I see something down the street. I heard auntie and uncle trying to sell their house. They straight away help them secure the house by putting in the big sum, the down payments and stuff. And whatever loans that they can borrow, they borrow, right? Then they help them get into the position.
Bro,
Perfect.
I know of another category which falls in this group, bro. It is not just under 30, bro.
Yes.
It's from the time they were born. Okay, they just listen to the parents.
Yeah.
Okay, the parents say what, they do what.
Yeah.
Okay, they follow everything the parents say.
Perfect.
They even take over the parents' business. They
want
are
to
the
be
most
this
filial.
slave.
Because these kids, they also know at the end of the day, I know what's waiting for me.
Yeah, so good.
Everything already planned ready.
Yeah.
Okay, I just need to just do what they ask me to do. And these are those who get gifts in forms of gifts, in forms of huge down payment. Okay.
But to be so what does this group of people do specific to the market is that because their parents secure something for them when they're young, right? Then they slowly stay in their position, then they will do their, we mentioned about them doing the big works later, right? They will maybe spend 5 years there. Then when their income peaks, they will start doing the works. Means this position that the parents secure for them is unlikely to come back into the market for a while.
Right.
So
Anyway.
when these kind of buyers come into the market, right, that's where you will find that why is the inventory now so tight? If more and more of such buyers come in, right, they're not going to release a position for quite a while.
True. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the episode, bro. But before we leave, although we're talking about young buyers, it is also prudent for us to share with them what are the important things they need to look out for, or what we suggest when they go for viewing with us.
Actually, nothing has changed. I think the only thing that changed for the younger wave buyers is how they perceive certain things that the older generation buyers say is a no-no. So for example, like directions. Some people say, hey, West Sun cannot buy all this. But the younger generation buyers we serve today are more sensitive to the location rather than the facing. So that's one.
Right.
If you look at the plots, like whether it's irregular shape, whether there's a frontage of a certain width, obviously these are things that continue to be evergreen. We will remind them of such.
Yeah.
But the reason why we remind them of such things is to let them know that it's good to buy with your eyes open.
Yep.
It's not that you cannot buy. You just need to know. You just don't want to be the last person to know.
Yep.
And obviously, other things that they need to know is like how much stamp duty they need to pay. A lot of times, some people miss out on this. I don't know why. Stamp duty, they missed out. Whether they can conduct their own kind of like stress test, if it's like 2%, how much is my mortgage, 3%, how much my mortgage, and see how long they need to buffer in their runway.
To be honest with you, Harvey, with regards to the stamp duty and the stress test, right, I'm not so worried about those things for the younger buyers because we still have our good friends in the banking sector and the lawyers who are assisting them, or the friends, or their families, or even real estate agents who know the whole process. Right?
For sure.
Yeah, to tell them all these things. But like what matters most, bro, is things like the plot, the frontage, the depth, the drainage, road noise, all these things. These are things that I wish the younger buyer, they may not know, I feel, as compared to the older ones. Okay. So I think that's where we come in, okay? And importantly, we don't want these younger buyers to invest heavy amounts of money and then later on go and find out, wow, bro, I never checked this roof thing. I didn't know about roof. You know? So these are things that are more worried about younger buyers. But I'm glad that today, whoever engages us, whoever's watching our show and talk to us, right? They are asking all the relevant questions.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we're doing this episode as well.
Correct. So, buying with your eyes open is a philosophy that at the table we talk about. Our buyers may be younger wave. They may not have parents who have bought landed, and even if they had parents who have bought landed, their mindset and philosophy could be very different from their parents as well. They are independents. They are high income earners. Then they want to buy something that suits them rather than listen to what their parents have for them. But yet at the same time, certain evergreen things don't change, right? Like plot width, like what Rama mentioned, frontage, setbacks, easements, drains, blah, blah, blah. These are things that they need to note, but if they are uninitiated, they wouldn't know that they need to look at this. But the most important thing of what you should check before you take a lead, right, is, do you have an exit strategy you are planning right from the get-go?
Absolutely.
The exit strategy, how long you may want to hold. Even if you want to do your A&A later, when about might you think you should do that? And what are the future trends? What are the future trends at the buyer pool in 10 years' time? What are the kind of buyers you will be looking at? What are the major transformations around that may create a capital gain or even a profit position that you can consider to cash out? Then I think these are the things that at the table we will also address.
So we have questions for you. Early landed is either a responsible leverage for life design or expensive cosplay for adulthood. So which camp are you in? We want to see your comments coming in.
Put your comments
at the same time, tell us your runway number. How many months of mortgage buffer would you like to make so that you sleep right at night?
Yes.
Right? So anyway, bro, we have many more interesting topics coming out, especially our next episode where we are going to talk about the exit strategies for landed homeowners.
Yes, for sure.
Looking forward to it, man.
As a follow through this episode, we're going to talk about exit strategies. So if you like what you watched so far, do share. We have also gone into more like shorts and stuff. If you see a certain clip and nugget that you think works for your friends or your neighbors, right, just send it to them. We look forward to you subscribing to the channel. And if you are buyer, seller, or agent, there are links below for you to contact us. And agents, you contact us for whatever reason, it's fine. It's up to you to decide. For buyers who are specifically looking at landed segment or thinking of strategies that you want to do, that you may consider not getting a landed, but even getting 2 condos for the matter. The table is here to help. For sellers, if you are still looking at considering a sale, or you have been in the market and considering a fresh perspective to the sale of your landed property, feel free to contact us as well. Thank you and see you in our next episode.